The full moon is full mooning because, and if you didn't know, last night, Thursday night, was a full moon. There's been so much craziness around me going on in my life, and so much craziness going on in the Bravo world and everywhere. So that is why I'm late on this episode. So my apologies for the late episode. But holy crap, do we have a lot of news. Even with BravoCon being over, I feel like like the drama just got escalated even higher since BravoCon's been over because there's so many crazy things. So I've got like Southern Charm news, Summer House, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Potomac, Salt Lake City, Beverly Hills, just news and like major drama coming from every direction. So enjoy today's episode, everyone. Welcome to the Bravo Papers, a safe space for all us Bravo fans who love to analyze, deconstruct, and talk about our favorite Bravo shows ad nauseum. So join me, Bravo and Botox, and we'll catch up on all the Bravo news and read way too much into our favorite shows and Bravo celebrities. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bravo Papers, Bravo Weekly News, here with your host, Emily. And happy December. I haven't had an episode in December yet, my first December episode. I hope that you all had a chance to listen to my 3-part Bravo Weekly News. They were a little spread out because there was just so much to go over. And, you know, news and gossip and all that kind of stuff still trickles in from BravoCon, but you know, we finally can kind of move on to some other things that have been happening. And let me say that there are things happening, okay? Because to start off really strong here with a huge piece of news, Candy and Todd Burris, well, Todd Tucker, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, because she took his name, Burris Tucker, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay. He didn't take her name. No, that was, yeah. Not that a man cannot take a woman's name, but it's just not often that that happens. But anyways, yeah, so they are getting a divorce, which this is a divorce and a split that I think is very shocking to people because you know, I think this was like one of those marriages and one of those couples that people really thought were going to make it and that people really believed in. And I think that's hard for people. I think it's hard for people to wrap their heads around it. I think people liked this couple. I think that, you know, I liked this couple. You know, what I will say is that I think a lot of us wanted Mama Joyce to be wrong. So I think that's kind of the other thing. I don't think that we wanted I don't think we wanted her to get proven right, but you know, and again, this doesn't mean that she's proven right. Let me just be very clear. That's not what I'm trying to say. But let's get into the details of it, okay? Mama Joyce aside. So apparently this is a difficult and emotional time, of course. So that's a quote from Candy. But basically Candy said, and you know, she announced this on through People magazine in an exclusive statement. So and again, I just want to point out that people were kind of suspecting this because she hadn't posted him on social media in a little bit. She wasn't wearing her wedding ring during BravoCon. When she got the award, you know, Housewives, I can't even remember what it's called right now. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so there was some suspicions about it. Let's just say that. So it's not like, you know, although it's a shock, you know, I think it's one of those things that like, yes, there were rumors and people were saying things, but I think it was kind of one of those things where people were like, well, I don't really want to believe it, you know, so, you know, even though it's a rumor out there, I'm just kind of ignoring it. So she said, after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I've made the decision to move forward with a divorce. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. Okay. So yeah, there was a lot of people commenting on this, like saying like, okay, this was like, you know, he was cheating or Mama Joyce was right. He's an opportunist. And then people are like, you know, kind of paying attention to the fact that like he stayed in it for like, you know, 11 years or so he could, just long enough so that he can like contest the prenup and like, they had lots, I don't know, not, I don't know, even remember, do they have 2 or 3 kids together? I can't remember. But like, I've seen people being like they had lots of kids so that he could get child support. I'm like, okay, I don't know about that, but there's a lot of conspiracy theories going around. So, this is a shocking one. It is a sad one because they did seem to really love each other. And like I said, they seem like a nice couple. But Candy says that even though she filed for divorce, so she did like this little live video, okay, where she was answering questions, etc. And this is what she said. Here's a few things she said from it. She said, even though she filed for divorce on Friday, this is something that has been brewing for a while. I've been going through it, but I have no regrets. Okay. So, again, divorce is not something where like someone wakes up one day and they're like, I'm getting divorced today. Like it's one of those things that people do think about for a while, that like the relationship has broken down. It's probably been having issues like off and on, and you're going back and forth. Do I give it another chance? Is he going to change? Is she going to get better? Like whatever the questions are. So I'm not really surprised about that. And and she was asked a question in the live about like, she doesn't give any real details, which whatever, that's fine. Like she's not even on reality TV anymore. It's not like she has to like share all the nitty-gritty details or anything, but what she does say is that it is really hard for her, and her voice starts to crack, like the Candy voice cracking thing that she does when she starts to cry. Atlanta fans know it very well. But her voice starts to crack and she does break down, and it is emotional for her. So you could tell that she's really hurt. And a lot of people are making reference back to BravoCon when she accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award. That's what it's called. I couldn't remember what it was called. So yeah, she seemed like really emotional during that. And she even said to Andy in her speech, like, for like being there and checking in, especially right now, like kind of implying that like something is going on right now. Okay, so a little bit after this divorce announcement, people caught on camera, or people saw, and then he also shared an Instagram story where it was basically like Todd out, at like a place, like having fun with friends. And people are like, oh, he's out celebrating with friends after Candy announces divorce. And he wrote in it like, cheers to new beginnings. So people are like, some people don't like that, or don't think he's like taking it seriously, or like kind of showing like the sad side of it, I guess, which I mean, I can kind of see that. And now, the divorce was announced, right? And as it goes, there's always people that are like, wow, it's like, it seems pretty amicable and da 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 and all this kind of stuff. And it's not going to get dirty, and it's not going to whatever. And, people being like, sometimes a marriage just breaks down, and like, it doesn't have to be salacious. And then I'm like, this is Bravo, guys. Like, I know they're not on Bravo anymore, but it's just, there's a reason that these people were chosen to be on reality TV. Like, it was just like with the Paige and Craig thing. Everybody was like, wow, this is the most mature breakup ever, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just give it time. And then like a week later, it was like all hell broke loose, right? So same thing with this, a week's gone by, pretty much. And as you may have guessed, all hell is breaking loose. So Candy's ex, Todd, is demanding primary custody, and he is questioning the prenuptial agreement. So here we go. Yeah. It's not going to be like a smooth, like when you have this much money, like Candy has a lot of money. Okay. When you have this much money and the guy signed a prenuptial agreement and all that kind of stuff, it's like, I just don't think it's going to be smooth. That's just my opinion. And, I don't know if Todd just married Candy for money. Like some people say that. I don't know if he was just taking advantage, or if he was an opportunist, like Mama Joyce believes, or whatever. People have different opinions on that. I think the truth could be maybe in the middle, in that like, he did love her, but maybe fell out of love, which does happen in marriages, or, they drifted apart or whatever. And now now he is more focused on the money. Like that is a possibility. It's like, more than one thing could be true at a time. But let's go into more details about this. So Candy's soon-to-be ex-husband Todd is asking the court for primary custody of their two kids. Two kids, there it is. I thought it was two or three. I couldn't remember, sorry. In his November 26 filing, responding to Candy's petition, Todd says Ace and Blaze are currently living with him in Georgia, while Candy is frequently out of state for work. Okay, so he's going to make it about like, oh, she's like, you know, one of those moms who like just is working all the time and doesn't prioritize their children and like no, that annoys me. He argues her work schedule will keep her away for the next several months and says that if they cannot reach a custody agreement, he will seek primary physical custody, joint legal custody, and final decision-making authority while still wanting Candy to have substantial time with the children. He also praises Candy as a loving parent. I mean, I think that's going to be tough. I think it's going to be really tough to, you know, demand primary physical custody when you are also saying the mom is a loving parent. Now, I'm not a legal expert and I don't know all this kind of stuff, but it's like, I guess I understand like with the travel schedule and whatnot, but it's like, I mean, there's moms who don't have Candy type of job and have to work like, you know, 90 hours a week or like, you know, I don't know. I don't like this at all. That's what I'm going to say. I don't like it. And I don't like that he's like trying to like, he's like being like nasty nice, you know? Like he's like, she's a really loving mom, but she's really never there for them. So I should have primary custody. Like, I don't know. That just pisses me off. So Todd acknowledges signing a prenup before their 2014 wedding, but claims he was pressured to sign it right before the ceremony without his lawyers present. His filing says this raises questions about whether the prenup is enforceable. If it is not, he may seek alimony in addition to a division of all marital assets and debts. Ouch. Yeah, that's not good for Candy. But what I will say is that there is footage of this on Candy's wedding special. Now, I haven't ever watched Candy's wedding special. I haven't watched a lot of them. I think the only one I watched was the Bethany one. And it was because I was just so interested in seeing. It was when Bethany had come back to Roni and she was like talking nonstop about how toxic Jason was. I think that was his name, Jason Hoppy or whatever. So I was like, okay, I need to see this. Like, because he was only on the show for such a short amount of time before she bounced. So I was like, we didn't really get to see his personality that much. And she's saying like he's doing like psychotic stuff. So I watched that, like, but I've never watched like Tamra's. I didn't watch Candy's. I don't even know. I know there's a few other people who have spinoff stuff. I don't think I've watched any of them. But I'm going to. Like, I kind of want to watch it now because I'm sort of like, okay, I want to see. I'm at least going to watch this scene. But yeah, like, people are, so it is floating around on the internet. I've already seen it like online, like just little clips of it, but I haven't had time to like sit and really watch it like carefully without being distracted by like 9,000 other things that are going on. But I do want to sit down and see. But people are saying that I feel like I've seen a lot of people saying that it kind of proves Candy's side more and that Todd doesn't have a leg to stand on. But I don't know. I don't know. Let me get back to you guys on that, okay? I'm going to get back to you. So Candy's divorce petition lists their separation date as July 15th, 2025. So that's a while ago. But yeah, they kept this under wraps, I guess. And she says the marriage is irretrievably broken. She's asking for joint custody, child support to be determined by the court, and for the prenup to be enforced. See, and I think that's fair. Like, she's asking for joint custody, child support determined by the court. Like, she's not like being crazy and being like, give me alimony and do this and do that. I mean, obviously she makes way more money than him. But yeah, I don't know. And, you know, there was the other thing people were saying that this is like a conspiracy that I kind of agree with, was that Todd was opening so many businesses when he was with Candy. And a lot of people are saying like he was doing that on purpose because then those are businesses that they share. And, you know, so they have like stake and like, you know, financial stake in them together. And, you know, maybe that'll give him like more cause to like get money from her or whatever. Again, I don't know the intricacies of it, but I can kind of see that. Like, I see what people's point is there. But again, like I said, Candy, I think, is being fair, but I also think it's easy to be fair when you're the one who makes way more money. I'm at the stage in life where what I wear to bed matters more than what I'm wearing out. I used to spend my money on the clothes for the club, but now I just want to invest in comfy, quality clothes that contribute to a good night's sleep. And that's why I'm wearing Skims to bed. So I got the soft lounge sleep set in Cyprus, and I basically live in them now. If I could wear them to work, I would, honestly. I mean, I do wear them recording this podcast, but you know what I mean. The fabric is like nothing I've ever felt before. They're the most comfortable PJs ever, and I love them so much. I'm gifting them for family this year. The other thing is that they also look good. The cypress green is so chic, and usually I change into some version of like quote unquote nicer PJs for my Christmas morning pick with my husband and daughter. But this year, I'm going to wear my Skims sleep set to bed and in my family Christmas morning pick. No need to change. So shop my favorite pajamas at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for the perfect gifts for everyone on your list, the Skims holiday shop is now open at skims.com. Okay, my Bravo fans, you know what's happening. Holiday shopping is officially here. And listen, I don't want you out there wasting tons of time trying to find the perfect gift, and then you don't get to watch all the housewife shows that you need to watch. So go to Uncommon Goods, okay? It's going to take the stress out of gifting, and you're going to get unique, high quality finds that you will not find anywhere else. Okay. I hate getting people like the same thing over and over or boring gift cards and stuff like that. So I love Uncommon Goods. One thing that I have already ordered is they have these customized family paintings. So it's kind of like family art. And they have this beautiful one where it's like a customized painting of you and your family all sitting around like a fire pit. They also have one on like like a ski lift and stuff. It's really cute. So I'm getting the fire pit one because my in-laws have this like gorgeous fire pit at their cottage, and we do that every summer, and it's a nice memory. And they have everything. And this is something that I know they'll actually love, and they can hang it up at the cottage. And it's just so beautiful and unique. So I just love that. So don't wait. Cross those names off your list before the rush. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/bravopapers. That's uncommongoods.com/bravopapers for 15% off. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Now, the other thing I'm hearing about this is that Kandi now is demanding that her divorce is sealed as custody battle ignites. So according to Us Weekly, Kandi's taking the steps to keep her divorce private amid a heated custody battle. So yeah, so it seems like, she filed with what I just said, joint custody, all that kind of stuff. He was like, no, I want primary physical custody. Annie's contesting the prenup. And now she's like, okay, can we keep this private? Because she knows like there's going to be like a headline every other day. Like there already is. It's only been a week, and there's been like, even just this week, there's been like, I think 5 or 6 headlines at least. So the headlines are going to keep coming. And I don't know if this one was clearly put out by her and her team. Maybe this is to show him that like, yeah, you better believe that we need to seal this, and you need to fall in line and start being more agreeable, because now we have this quote from, or not quote, but we have this like source connected to Kandi allegedly saying that Kandi discovered that Todd was talking to other women behind her back before the split, and she had no idea. Okay, so a source tells People that Kandi and Todd's split followed ongoing marital problems, but one of them was that Kandi was discovering that Todd had been talking to other women. And I will say that one of the crazy things about this whole thing, this whole divorce, is that people are like making memes about it and tweeting and all that kind of stuff like they do. And I saw on Twitter so many tweets of people who I guess live in the area that Kandi and Todd live in, and have been tweeting about like, okay, thank God that they shared this publicly, because I see Todd out with women all the time. So there was like 5 of those tweets. People are like, yeah, I've seen him like on dates before. And I'm like, okay, so again, you could be like, hey, well, they've been separated since July, so that kind of makes sense. But I don't know how far back these go, so I'd have to look at the timelines. And they're also random tweets, so people can just say shit, obviously. Now, Kandi has also spoken out even more recently after all these things, because, there's all like these pictures of her on social media looking happy, posing, smiling for the cameras and stuff like that. Um, but, she says, and this is her caption. Okay, she has like pictures of her, etc., looking happy. And she says, "This is what I look like when I'm going through something. I show up for my family, I show up for my friends, I show up to handle my business, and I show up with a smile, all while on the inside I'm emotionally broken. In every pic of this video, I was internally dealing with something life-changing that most of the people in the pics with me had no clue of my inner stress and sadness. This is not being fake. This is just how I deal with things. I internalize and deal with it alone. I am the poster child for saying, check on your strong friends because you never know what they're going through. I normally don't like to say stuff like this, but I was listening to this old song that I wrote years ago and felt like it perfectly described how I feel." Okay. So, I think Candy's kind of like setting some haters straight from this, who are maybe like people who are more on Todd's side, I think maybe. But I think she's also just saying, like, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. You just really don't. And that's a fact. So pretty crazy. Anyways, hopefully things go well in the divorce, or that it doesn't end up being as contentious for the sake of the kids, specifically, always for the sake of the kids. And, it does seem like at least one of them wants it to be amicable, but I am positive that next week and many weeks after, there will be more details and things to talk about in regards to this divorce. There's no doubt about that. But there are some happy couples in Atlanta, okay? Because Portia is hard launching her new relationship. And her new relationship is with a woman. Okay, love it, Portia. So Portia has been open more recently about bisexuality and about, I mean, she hasn't, I don't think she officially said she's bisexual or that she put any label on it. But, she's said basically like at BravoCon that she has been with women and that, she's attracted to women. And, she had said before that she was dating two people. One was a man, one was a woman. So, people were like, oh my God. And now it seems like she's in a relationship with a woman. And she put pictures up of the two of them, like, just like smiling, laughing, hugging, like looking really happy. And she's cute. They look cute together, I'll say. And her new lady in Portia's life is named Patrice Sway McKinney. She is a master barber who, according to People, started her career as a full-time barber and hairstylist, but, became an entrepreneur and opened her own salon suite business. And she's opened 4 Encore salon suites across Atlanta. She also has a mentorship program where she helps people open their own salon suite businesses. And yeah, so they have these pictures like in front of a Christmas tree and they're like hugging and stuff. And yeah, happy for the happy couple and happy to see that Portia's happy too. Portia always, she loves being in a relationship. Let's be honest. She's a relationship person. Like, I mean, maybe she should take a little more time to be single sometimes between these relationships, but she likes to relationship hop. And I have more faith in this one than I did in any of the ones with the guys that she was dating, if you just want me to be honest. That being said, I don't know this person at all. But she didn't always have the best picker when it came to men. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this one goes. I'm sure we're going to see it on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Which would be great. It would be an interesting, I know it's not just a storyline. I hope that it's a real relationship and not a storyline, but it'll be like interesting to see, Portia kind of embrace this and, go in a new direction in her life. All right. What else do we have from Atlanta? Because we do have some more. Okay. So we have some updates on the lawsuit between Britt Eady and Bravo. I don't know if I should say between because it's Britt Eady directed at Bravo, but basically Britt revealed in the lawsuit that she quit after the defendants told her they planned to bring Kenya Moore back for season 17. She was informed that if she wanted to be on the next season, she would have to film with Moore, the person who she identifies as her harasser. Shortly after that, Eady quit saying enough was enough. Okay. Um, Yeah, I guess. Like I get what she's saying, but like I don't know if there's a lawsuit here. Like people are forced to film with people that they don't like all the time. And if it was, here's the thing I'm confused about. She now says it wasn't a picture of her. So if it wasn't a picture of Brit, like if those were not her in those pictures, I know she was made to believe that they were her, but she said that they weren't her. Then I don't know, didn't like technically Kenya didn't do the revenge porn things. It wasn't her. It was just like a random pic. I don't know. Like I'm so confused. So it's hard for me to even form an opinion on this. Because obviously I think like Kenya made the wrong move, not just because of doing that, which is wrong, obviously, but also because like she kind of screwed herself over. But it's also like if Brit is later saying like I was, led to believe those were pictures of me, but it actually wasn't even me, then it's kind of like, okay, yeah. So then Kenya was like bullying you by like tricking you into think these were you and that you were humiliated and all that kind of stuff. But that being said, she didn't actually show nude pictures of you. So I don't know. Is that a crime to just like trick someone into thinking that you are? I don't know. I really don't know. Like maybe it is a crime. I don't know. But what I will say is that you were also a harasser. Like you did also threaten her with gun violence. So if we're going to be honest, there was harassing from both sides happening. So I don't know. This lawsuit, I think, is just a little bit of a miss. Like I don't think she's going to get anywhere with it, especially with Bravo. Like they have such ironclad contracts. Like I think I think this is a losing battle for her. And I don't get the impression that she has the means to really take on like Bravo, NBC, Universal. And if anything, it seems like it's a little bit maybe of a cash grab from them, if anything. Okay, let's go to some Beverly Hills news. So Erica Jane's lawyer, Jim Wilkes, I don't even know, accused of stealing millions in COVID relief to fund Erica's lavish lifestyle. Why am I not surprised at all? We'll get into why I'm not surprised after this. Let's have some details. So according to the lawsuit, Jim obtained two PPP loans for $2.3 million and $2 million. The U.S. Small Business Administration forgave both of the loans under the impression that the money went towards the salaries of Jim's employees. In Jim's PPP application, he allegedly overstated the number of employees he had at his law office. The lawsuit claimed he exaggerated the number of full-time employees by 40. Holy shit, that's a lot. I thought they were going to say like 5. Okay, 40 is a lot. Then that money allegedly went to pay, invest in, or loan Erica Jane and her team, and to pay attorneys to defend Erica Jane and her team in other lawsuits. This woman is scamming in order to get out of the lawsuits that she has from the other scamming. That's how much of a scammer she is. I just need to stop and point that out. Okay. Okay, what else do they say about this? Oh yeah, no, that's really like the main gist. But I do just want to reiterate that not only is this woman really boring on our television, she brings nothing. Okay, she's on the show. She's, her storyline last season, as has been said so many times, was wallpaper. She's she's not even like exciting in group scenes anymore. Like her time on the show is so played out. And from what I can see, all she has this season is, some little spat with Dorit that I don't care about. And I guess this new girl's going to come for her, which that's fine. But again, I have a feeling that that's by the new girl's efforts and not Erica's. So her time is up. And on top of that, how long are we going to allow this scam artist to keep going? I'm sorry, I understand that she legally and technically maybe didn't do the stuff when it comes to like Tom Girardi and she can't be held like criminally responsible for that, but she is responsible for things. Okay. I think that she did encourage Tom to, get that extra money so that she could live this lifestyle and fund her career. I think they were in it together, quite frankly, but he knew how to keep her out of it, like, so that she wouldn't have to serve jail time, etc., like him. I think that the Marco thing is insane. And if you look into that, you will see what a terrible person she is if you don't already know that. And now this. Now she's got, because I remember this story coming up a while ago, and the story was like that allegedly, Erica Jane's lawyer was paying her, and people were like, what is going on? Like, how's that work? This is how it works. I don't know. She must be really good in bed. I don't know. I honestly have no idea like how she pulls this off. But yeah, clearly, I mean, if you see the picture of this lawyer, he looks uh, not highbrow to say the least. But I don't know how else to say it. That's politically correct. But what I will say is that this woman sucks. She sucks as a housewife. She sucks as a person. Get her off the show. This show, no show, in my opinion, needs a bigger revamp of the cast than Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills really needs some huge changes. And it has to, like, I know they have a couple new people this season, but they got their work cut out for them. And I don't know if Rachel Zoe is going to bring it, because from everything I see and hear, it doesn't sound like she is. Like, maybe interesting as like a person and an individual, but I don't know if she's going to bring that like housewives pizzazz that we need. But yeah, conclusion, Erica's a terrible person. And of course she knows. This is how she does it. This is how she pulls her scams. She probably learned at a fairly young age that she can, and I don't mean like a child. I mean like as like a, girl in her 20s, whatever, that she could use her sexuality to get men to buy her stuff. And she just got better and better at it. And, that's how she landed Tom. That's how she gets this guy to pay for stuff. And it's actually a really smart scam because her hands come out clean. But, the fucked up part is that it's not just like a gold digger who's just like taking money from some asshole rich guy. It's like they are doing illegal things, and there are actual victims or people losing money in cases, or just illegal things like getting a loan that you're not supposed to get or whatever, or loan forgiveness in order to pay for it. And that's what makes it crazy. And she doesn't seem to care. Like, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like she cares and has much empathy. Like, I do think she's like maybe a true sociopath. I don't know. In other Beverly Hills news, Kyle Richards says that Sutton and her friendship is much more genuine now that Garcelle has left the show. So in other words, now that Sutton doesn't have a real friend who, sticks by her and tells the truth about things, you can boss her around and add her to your collection of little minions that do everything Kyle says, because she's the OG Beverly Hills housewife. Shut up, Kyle. She annoys me so much. And I do not like the implication of this, because the implication is that Garcelle was the problem. And that's what they were all saying on the premiere episode. I haven't even watched it. I just saw a little scene from it where they're all shit talking Garcelle. That's what she's trying to say. Like 1,000 gajillion %. And I don't like it. Okay. So the other thing that Kyle talked about, so this was an interview with Housewives Nightcap, by the way. So the other thing she talked about was her and Erica having a feud with Dorit. So she said, quote, "Something happens this season that was really big, especially for the ones that have been on the show the longest. And that was very upsetting and stressful." So translation, Dorit doesn't agree with something that Erica and Kyle do agree with. Dorit gives them a little attitude. They snap at each other. And then, yeah, maybe they make up like a few episodes later. But, Dorit and Kyle are still kind of playing this, like, we're not really as close as we used to, because they're trying to like stay interesting for the show, and it's boring. So Kyle also explains why she said, I could go Brad or I could go Angelina. She says, I don't know if I believe in labels. Oh my God, I cannot believe we're still doing this. This like Kyle like refusing to, put a label or to like just be open. Like, yeah, I'm attracted to women as well as men. Like, you don't even, no one's saying you have to say I'm bisexual, but like, or anything else, but just, why can't you just say that? Like, she's like, I was just saying I'm open-minded. No, that's not what you're saying. Like, that's not that I'm open-minded, but that doesn't, like, open-minded isn't a sexuality as far as I know. I mean, you can be open-minded to people having different sexualities. And no, you don't have to label things. I understand that. But here's why I'm getting annoyed is because she's doing this on purpose, because she thinks it makes her more interesting and she's using it in order to like drag out the longest storyline ever because she knows she's got nothing and she's boring. But no one cares. That's the truth. Like literally no one cares. Like just do like if you are bisexual and you're attracted to women, just say it. Like who cares? And then she added that she made the comment to make the women laugh and get them off her back. Why? They shouldn't even need to be on your back, because this should not be like, you shouldn't be, if you really like don't want to talk about this, then stop baiting people and stop like leaving these little hints and commenting on Morgan Wade and making these like little comments that like are flirty. Like stop baiting everybody, like the audience. Like you're doing this for attention and for a storyline. So Kyle says she and Bose have never been in a bad place. She thinks that their issues were just exaggerated because Bose and Dorit are close. So yeah, I guess she's like, her and Dorit are really dragging out this friendship storyline. And I'm going to tell you, it was interesting for like the first like 10 minutes of last season because we hadn't seen Dorit and Kyle in a fight in like years. And Dorit was just like, you know, going to be talking about PK and like all that kind of stuff. However, it's not interesting anymore. So you guys need to find something new. That's what I'm going to say. So Kyle also says on Kelly and Mark that the dynamics have totally changed within the group and anybody you thought were great friends are no longer. Dun, dun, dun. Again, I have to be honest, it's not piquing my interest. Like I'm going to watch it because, you know, I watch Beverly Hills because, you know, for this, but it's really like in comparison to like right now, like with Potomac and Salt Lake City, which are both having amazing, really good, entertaining seasons, it's hard to like turn your attention to this like nothing drama that's like not like it's not even like funny, you know, like at least like with Potomac, sometimes they're fighting about stupid little things like the Chris Samuels thing. It's like nothing drama, but like the way they go about it, it's so funny and entertaining. And then Salt Lake, like the way they fight is so entertaining. They're not necessarily trying to be funny, but they just are. Whereas these women, they just don't have that. So it's just like, it's a, you know, it's a no for me, dog, as the meme says. All right, what else do we have from Beverly Hills? I think that's it. And by the way, I'm not here for an entire season of trashing Garcelle. Not here for that at all. Okay, let's go to some Salt Lake City news next. We unfortunately have some sad news kind of from the Mary and her son front. Not that the bad news is about Mary, but it affects her obviously because it's her son. Now, Mary Cosby's son, Robert Cosby Jr., was arrested. And this was like, the arrest was about a week or so ago, maybe even two. Shoot, I forgot to write down the date on it. Let me see. I mean, the offense dates were on the 9th, November 9th, and then the arrest came after that. So I remember this was right around BravoCon that the news broke at least. So he allegedly was violating his wife's protection order, smashing her mother's car window, biting an officer, and more. Oh my God. It's just really bad and sad. I mean, this guy obviously has problems, like beyond addiction. Like there's mental health problems. There's clearly some, I don't know, like anger issues, like, you know, with like biting somebody and like, you know, violating this protective order. Like it's not good. And now we see that his wife has filed for divorce, which is not surprising since, you know, it seemed like she was staying away from him because the couple times that he's been in trouble, it's because he's trying to get to her when she has a protective order, right? So I'm not surprised that she's filing for divorce. Now, the divorce documents are under seal, so we can't see like exactly why she's getting a divorce, but you know, I think we can all make a few guesses, obviously. But one thing I will say to make all these matters worse, he is in jail for, the violating the protective order, trespassing, all this other stuff. And he is to remain in jail until, when was it? February 3rd, which is his sentencing. So yeah, he's going to be in jail till, I mean, if you say next year, it sounds really long, but until February 3rd. And yeah, so and he did plead guilty to trespassing and assault. Okay. I mean, unfortunately, addiction, I don't want to say like addiction makes people do stuff like this, because some people are addicts and they don't do stuff like this, but I don't think that, the use of these, it seems like maybe mix of drugs and other things is probably not helping, for sure, especially since it does seem like he has mental health issues. And I mean, he needs like serious help and serious therapy. And he has no business being married. I mean, like, obviously these two were like so young and they rushed off and got married. Mary didn't even know he got married. And like, when that was first on the show, we were all just kind of like thinking, like, it was kind of when everybody just, Mary was still kind of like an enigma for a lot of us. And we just kind of were like, oh, it's just crazy Mary, like, doesn't know her son is married. But, I think now that we've seen more sides of her and maybe a more complete picture of who she is, like, not 100%, but I do think it makes a little more sense now that she didn't know he was getting married. It also seems like the two of them were like using together. And I remember I saw Mary in an interview said that they both were getting clean, but I don't know, maybe she has remained that way and he hasn't. Like, who knows all the details of it, but it's pretty crazy. Okay. What else do we have from Salt Lake City? So Jen Shah is getting out of jail in like 5 days. So watch out, Heather Gay. No, I'm just joking, but well, a little kind of. Yeah, so she's getting out. Like, it is December 5th today. She is getting out in 5 days, which is pretty wild. Her sentence has been reduced multiple times, as we all know. But apparently she's going on that good behavior, and she's been participating in all kinds of prison programs, as we know, because we've all seen the pictures. So yeah, confirmation from People magazine. She's going to be released on December 10th. She has also been making restitution payments. And according to the courts, she has expressed remorse for her role in the telemarketing scheme. Okay. And her lawyer told People that she's in a really positive, hopeful place mentally. Hopefully she's not hoping to be back on Bravo, because it doesn't, we'll get to that in a minute, but I don't think it's going to happen. Her lawyer also said she's done a lot of reflecting and real growth during her time away and is genuinely not the same woman as she was before. Her focus is on her family and building a healthier, more grounded life. She understands the seriousness of the mistakes she made and is excited to put this chapter behind her so that she can show everyone the woman she's worked hard to become. I mean, I don't want to be like a pessimist, nor do I want to think that like people can't change. I just am skeptical of Jen Shah. Like, there's certain people I just don't know if I believe. Like, I don't believe for sure that Erica Jane can change. Like, for sure, if she's trying to pretend, like, she's been on this whole like rehab her image thing for the last like 5 years, and I believe 0% of it. Jen Shah, it's hard for me to believe at this big age that you could change this much when the crime is like a planned, deliberate, I know I'm stealing money from like elderly people and hurting them. Like, I know that, and I'm doing it anyway. Like, that is hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, that's not the same as like, I got sucked into something, I made a mistake, I hurt someone by accident, still a crime, I still have to pay my due. Like, this is like premeditated. So I don't know. It's hard for me to buy this. Either way, whatever. not up to me how long she stays in jail, but she's getting out. And Monica Garcia has something to say about it. So there was like a story about it being released, and she retweeted it to her Instagram story and said, "Angie, you're welcome. My prayers for you have been answered." So I guess that's Monica's way of saying she thinks that Jen Shah is going to be coming after Angie. Listen, I know people say that, or like people are making jokes, including me, but I also am kind of like, I mean, she's going to be on like probation, and she's going to have all this she's going to be being watched. You know what I mean? By like the media and public, and also the court system and her parole officer and all. Like, I don't think Angie needs to be scared or anything like that. Plus, at the end of the day, I don't think she's going to be back on the show. So on that note, Andy says on Radio Andy, hang on, where's my quote, guys? I have it here. Andy says that she's not coming back, period. And he doesn't want to answer this question anymore, pretty much. He says he wishes her the best in her, rehabilitation back into society, that kind of thing. And he says the Salt Lake City ladies have thrived in the years following her incarceration, which translation, the ratings have only gone up and the show has gotten better. And that is one thing I 100% agree with him with. The show has gotten progressively better. So why would you bring back someone who was on it when it wasn't as good? Like, the show was good at the start, don't get me wrong. It was a strong starting show. But the idea of bringing back somebody is usually done when the show isn't doing well. But when the show is doing really well and it's like legit, maybe the most talked about, it doesn't have as high as ratings as like Beverly Hills has had. But in terms of like internet chatter and like celebrities talking about it, like Salt Lake City is like the top tier right now. So it's kind of like, okay, why would you go back? Why, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Anyway, so I agree with him on that. He also says there has to be a line in terms of like morality. Now that's kind of bullshit, but as we all know, because I mean, let's just go down the list of some of the people who've been on these shows. But that being said, Jen Shah she's pretty high up there in terms of like people who've committed the most like I said, premeditated, like I know I'm, fucking people over and absolutely ruining their entire lives and taking their life savings, and that's pretty bad. Like it's like, to me, it's not the same in terms of like the morality. It's not the same as like insurance fraud. Not that I'm like making excuses for Dr. Wendy, but I am. So the other thing from Salt Lake City, besides that, is that Bronwyn says on the after show that the Salt Lake City women don't get the episodes ahead of time anymore because they have a leaking problem. Okay. Who the leaking problem is, I don't know. I'm assuming she and others think it's Lisa Barlow because they seem to think that Lisa Barlow does that. I do wonder if this is going to get brought up at the reunion, if this is going to be a question at the reunion. So Bronwyn also did an interview with Chicks in the Office, and she questions whether like content creators should get credit on Bravo shows because it entices them. I mean, I think that, credit is one thing, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think that content creators need like credit on housewives shows. But that being said, it's up to the housewives to not engage with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of your own fault if you go to a content creator and you like go in their DMs and start giving them information and etc. Like that's on you. Like, you're the person who works for Bravo and NBC. The Instagram account, like I Love Housewives 1234, they're like just like mine, okay, or at Bravo and Botox, like they're an account that's like maybe trying to get more followers and more whatever, and like by like spilling tea and like shit, like Bravo and cocktails, like that's what they do. They break stories and like, have like paid subscriptions and stuff like that. Like my page is more of a like tweets and memes kind of thing, but I talk about the news and stuff on here, but I'm not in like the business of like trying to like get on the show and like try to like get information and be the one to break the story. I'm, to be honest, just too lazy for that. Um, and I also just like, I don't want to be a part of the mess. Like that's not fun for me. But yeah, like I get what she's saying, but there's all these people in the comments being like, the creators need to stay out of the shows. No, the housewives need to stop bringing them on the shows and making them their storylines. Like, there's an easy way to not bring them on the show, which is don't talk about them. Don't talk about them. Don't mention them. And I don't think it's the same as like mentioning like, oh, I saw a rumor online. Like that's been going on since like the old days, like the blogging, the days where they would say like, I saw on the blogs, or like, you know what I mean? Which I guess those were content creators, but like, that's why I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's on you guys. And like, as some people said in the comments, like, you know, Bronwyn has brought information that she read online on the show, like about like Lisa Barlow, etc. Like that's, again, like, from like a news story or whatever. But a lot of times that gets dug up by content creators, to be honest, as well. But yeah, it's so, and a lot of content creators are just putting it out, like they're putting it out for likes and views on their page. They're not, most are not thinking like, oh, I'm going to be on Housewives next week. Like the vast majority, I think, know that that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, and like, again, not like, I'm not trying to be defensive in the sense of like, we do give the shows a lot of like free advertisement and like buzz online and stuff like that. But again, I think the housewives need to not engage. Like, that's it. That's like, do your press interviews, yes. But like, the going into like a content creator's DMs, or when they DM you and then answering and having these conversations and then bringing it up on the show, like that's probably what Bronwyn is talking about. And I think that's what they're trying to say, like Lisa Barlow does, which I definitely think Whitney and Heather and a lot of them do. But that being said, that's you guys' responsibility to not do that, right? Like the bloggers, commenters, people on Reddit, that's never going to go away. That's the age we live in now. So, they're not going to disappear. So that's just it. Okay. All right, let's talk about Real Housewives of Potomac. This was something that also kind of happened during like the BravoCon craziness, and I just couldn't even cover it because, I didn't have enough bandwidth to even like process this many news stories. And I was like, I already have like enough news for a 3-part episode. I'm not trying to squeeze this into. I'm going to just save it. And that's what I did. In fact, a lot of what you're hearing tonight is stuff that is from like a week or so ago that I have been saving. So Mia Thornton, former Real Housewives of Potomac housewife, was arrested in Atlanta and charged with larceny. Police say she's accused of stealing $11,000 worth of furniture, including a TV from a furnished rental condo. So Mia moved out in the middle of the night without notice. And basically the police report that was obtained by Fox 5. So she says that she had recently moved to Atlanta, and she moved out in the middle of the night, allegedly stole furniture from a furnished rental condo when she moved out. So I guess like she got the moving truck, pulled it up and was like, I'll take my stuff and I'll also take that sectional, and, the coffee table's nice, maybe that ottoman, right? So including a TV as well. So she's just taking the TV. She's got to stay caught up on Real Housewives of Potomac so that she can try to get back on, right? The condo owner filed a report with police through a friend on November 6th, saying that Thornton moved out in the middle of the night without notice, and then she was charged. Okay, so she was arrested at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And was she trying to go? Where were you going? Were you trying to go somewhere? Or they probably just had like a warrant for her arrest and then she was flying somewhere. Who knows? Anyways, she was booked into the Fulton County Jail on Wednesday. And then there's body camera footage that was, floating around all over social media. You can find it very easily of her arrest and the police talking to her and all that. I will say to give her some positivity here. She looks great in the mugshot. Like this is a good mugshot. This is the mugshot you aspire to. And I don't always think Mia looks great. I think her lips are really overfilled. And sometimes her fashion is pretty questionable. But this is a good picture of her. So proud of you, Mia. You got a good picture. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why she would do this. Is she that desperate and like short on money? I don't know. Like, I don't know, is like, I guess like her ex is not really working. She's not on the show anymore. Like they say they have these businesses. I don't know. I can't believe anything Mia says because she's like one of the biggest liars who's ever been on these shows. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe she is that desperate. Or maybe I mean, that would be really insane thing to do. I was going to say maybe she stole it. Maybe she did this on purpose so she has like something interesting going on so she could get back on the show. I don't know. Maybe she saw what it's done for Wendy and Karen's popularity, but like Karen was already really popular and like Wendy was like shocking because like you wouldn't expect it from Wendy. This is not that shocking. I think the only reason it shocked people is because we just had like Karen get out of jail, Wendy arrested. And it's like, who's next in Potomac? Like, what is going on this cast? Even though she's not on the cast, but you guys know what I mean. So speaking of prison and arrests and such, we have some updates with the Osefos because the Baltimore Banner is reporting that they have allegedly, 40 credit and or debit cards, some believed to be used in company names, and that they used aliases such as, this is one of my favorite stories, by the way, not because of them being in trouble, but because of these nicknames. Okay, so aliases such as Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy. Okay, you could have been a little more creative, Eddie, but we'll go with it, to mask their identities. They also say Wendy falsely denied using PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App to pay for jewelry. This is crazy. Okay, so yeah, so apparently they did this in a deliberate attempt to mask their identity, and the state anticipates seeing purchases as well as returns on the financial records. Additionally, the state expects, and this is from the prosecutor, by the way, the state prosecutor expects such documentation to show a pattern of excessive spending supporting motive in this case. The state also says that insurance fraud is a financial crime, and in that the amount of debt owed by the Osefos jointly, individually, and by the businesses that they own is highly relevant to the motive. So I guess they have to argue, like the state has to argue that knowing how much debt they were in and how many credit cards they were running up and is kind of like, it does connect to their crime, because like having a lot of credit cards and a lot of debt is not a crime in itself, right? However, maybe having credit and cards and stuff in fake names and using aliases to open accounts and stuff like that's probably, I'm going to assume that's a crime, right? And I guess they say it's highly relevant to the motive. So I guess the motive being we are drowning in debt and, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, this is what gives me kind of hope for the Osefos, because as much as, I mean, I am a simple Bravo fan, you know, you have one likable season and I'm suddenly like, let's defend Wendy until the end. Wendy's having her best season. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to get Wendy off? Because I need her back next season. She's been so funny and so good this season. And listen, I think the motive of like being deep in debt and like, you know, it's spiraling and then you use one debt to pay off another and then the interest is whatever and their student loans because they both have degrees and stuff. Like I think they could, you know, maybe use that to kind of get away with a little bit of like, you know, we didn't do this because we're like bad, evil people. You know, we did this because we were like in a desperate situation. We're supporting our, you know, our family members who still are in Nigeria. And they, you know, our culture has these expectations. And, you know, again, I know you guys are listening and you're like, Emily, come on. none of this is, it's not, none of it's an excuse. That's not what I'm saying. But what I will say is that, it's not like the same as like Jen Shah's crime. So I am hopeful that maybe they could get like not the worst sentence. Like I think they're going to get something, but I'm hoping it's not going to be really bad. That's my hope for Wendy and Eddie. I don't want them to be away from their children for long either. They're such like those poor sweet kids. Okay. Anyways, why did you guys have to do this? They make me so mad that they did this. Okay. It's just so stupid. And you can tell like they are not seasoned criminals. Like this was done so foolishly and dumbly. It's like, okay. So they put out a joint legal statement after all of this came out. Okay. Here's what it said. It said, sorry, at the outset, police failed to properly investigate the initial burglary despite clear indications of a break-in, displaying clear bias against the Osefo family. The Osefos heard nothing but silence from police for over 18 months, despite complete cooperation and requests for updates. It is common knowledge that the other Real Housewives cast members have also been victimized after documenting their travel on social media. Yet none face this level of scrutiny and criminal charges. We believe it is deeply unjust for the Sheriff's Office and Office of the State Attorney for Carroll County to publicly expose confidential financial information about Eddie and Wendy Osefo. What is most disturbing is that the state appears to have begun investigating only after charging the Osefos, which is a highly irregular approach, which, yeah, I think that's not like a bad point. It is weird that like why are you investigating now? Like, don't you do the investigation before and have everything ready? But I guess you could do some of it and then you might discover something new. I don't know, but it is like, I don't know why it has to be put out there publicly, but I guess it's public. So I don't know. I'm sure the other side has a lot of retorts to this, which raises serious concerns about motive and fairness. The public release of the family's private financial details serves no lawful purpose and only invites conclusory opinions about a case the state is obviously still investigating. The Osefos have never used an alias on any financial application. This allegation is false and misleading. Such names were used for the delivery of packages following their lawful purchase to safeguard the identity of very public figures. All right, I guess that's a defense. It is ironic for the state to assert or exaggerate the existence of any purported debt in connection with this accomplished professional couple. Due process is paramount to the administration of justice, and its breach by misleading the public with a false narrative has only compounded the harm. The defense is confident the court will prevent any further violation of the Osefos' right to a fair trial. All right, so the defense is coming for them. They're really looking. I mean, listen. I don't know if like the defense has like a really strong point here. I'm not a lawyer. I would need like a lawyer to kind of weigh in on like, do they have like a really good leg to stand on here? Does it seem like the state is doing investigations in an unethical way that could get things dismissed or thrown out, or, at least make things better for Wendy? I'm not sure. But it's kind of interesting to just see what direction this is going to go in. The other thing is that Wendy and Eddie have now filed to be co-defendants, which was granted by the judge after filing in October to have separate trials. Okay. So basically, they initially wanted to be tried together. That's what they had asked for in October. But now they are asking to be tried. Sorry, did I say separately or together? I meant that whatever I said, I meant separately. Okay. Now they are asking to be tried together. So we don't really know why, because they didn't say why. But okay, I was reading this article in Us Weekly and they had this like defense attorney. And he said, so this is his quote about some of the reasons. Some reasons the two may want to be tried separately include different defense strategies related to one defendant spouse not wanting to be prejudiced by evidence against the other spouse, or the defenses may include trying to deflect blame on one spouse by implicating the other. Okay. So, yeah, so I guess now they're deciding to be together. and they'll be back in court on December 19th. I mean, I don't know why they're doing this switch up. Like the lawyer that weighed in on this was more talking about why they would want to do it separately. So maybe it has to do with kind of like one spouse implicating the other. Like maybe they don't want to go down that road. Like, I don't know. Maybe they're just in it. Like, it's like we're the captains together. Like we're both going down with the ship. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Or like, it's kind of like they think like it makes us look more innocent if we're together. Cause it's like we were both like didn't do this on purpose or like fell into this by accident. Like I'm not sure. I do hope we get some details about, why they've decided to make this switch, but yeah, we'll see going forward. Okay, let's talk about some of the show drama and how it's kind of leaking to the real world and on social media, of course. So, Kieran's been getting a lot of backlash for just every poor decision she's making this season. And she's just not great at this. And this, I mean, like housewifing. Okay. So, she sat down, her and Angel, and they did this kind of like, I think it was like an Instagram live or something like that. And basically during this, first of all, Angel says that she is like the quintessential housewife. Okay. She says that she is the picture of resilience. I mean, I haven't seen that. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I haven't seen that. And I don't know. I mean, it's like 2 weeks later and you're still talking about the catfish thing. If you were resilient, wouldn't you have bounced back from that a little bit faster and not still be obsessing over it? I'm just saying. Okay. She adds that it's very nasty to call a grown woman a girl. Ashley Darby doesn't have much going on and has rode the coattails of everyone else who does. Well, she's not wrong about that, but broken clock, all that. So I'll give her that. And then Kiarna in the interview said, like during this live or whatever it is, said that Stacey uses microaggressions towards her. So I guess because like Stacey said that she was aggressive, and that is a term that has been used like in a racist microaggressive way towards Black women a lot, as we all know. Well, as hopefully most of us know at this point. But yeah, listen, what I'm going to comment on is just what most of the commenters are saying. And what most people are saying is that Kierna has been kind of poking at Stacey and keeps like going after her for stuff that like she doesn't really need to go after her for. Like she's just kind of like trying to have a moment, it feels like, all the time with Stacey. And like it's like Stacey's not doing anything to you. And Stacey does snap back. Like she has like quick comebacks and all that, but it's always in defense of herself. Like she's always defending herself against Kiarna. So it seems like Kiarna's kind of just losing against Stacey, and now she's sort of like using this as a way to try to quote unquote win. And I don't think it's working. Because quite frankly, I've seen, a lot of tweets about the last 2 episodes and many, many, many comments, and I haven't seen any that have supported Kiarna on this. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. Now, Monique Samuels has also been doing some talking on the podcasts. So she says that her ex-husband, Chris Samuels, is the one who leaked the video of her getting touchy-feely with former radio co-host Jason Weems. She says he used it as an intimidation tactic. So I remember when this came up, it was a few weeks ago, maybe more, where there was this video of Monique and like this guy, Jason Weems, and he's like kissing her on the neck, and they look like they're like outside, like maybe on like a porch or patio. It looks very forested, big trees. It looks nice. Anyways, but he's like kissing her neck and they're all like touchy-feely. So she's saying that Chris leaked this, which is pretty crazy. Like, aren't you divorced? Like if this is true and he did leak this, like, can we let the woman live? Like, just let her go on with her life. She also speaks out about alleged abuse in the marriage. She claims that Chris once lifted her up by the throat in the presence of witnesses. Oh, God. Monique also alleges that Chris acted inappropriately with their children by describing the leaked video involving her and her former coworker to them. Yeah, why would you do that? That's messed up. Like, that's really messed up. Um, and that is an abusive, controlling thing to do. Like, to talk to the children about that. And also, like, again, you're divorced. She's not your wife anymore. So even if she is doing that, it's like, okay, isn't she allowed? Unless this was from when she was still married, but I haven't read anywhere that says that. Maybe I missed something, but yeah, that's all kinds of messed up. And I don't know, based on how much involvement this guy is, like, I guess we could like put the blame more on like Cookie and other people, but based on what I'm seeing, yeah, it does kind of look like there was some messed up stuff going on in this marriage. And I wouldn't be that surprised if, if this was true. Well, actually, I would be surprised because, like, on camera and on the show, like Chris always came off really well. But again, like she said, they had an image and like a very careful image, right? So, he could always be and again, a lot of abusive guys are like this. Like they're really good at being like charming and funny and personable. And he was all those things, right? And then behind closed doors, they like completely change, right? Some are like creepy and weird and stuff as soon as you meet them and you can kind of sense something's off, like what's her name, Taylor Armstrong. Remember her guy on Beverly Hills? He did not come off well at all, like on camera. Like you could tell right away that something was off and strange, etc. But Monique and Chris, I never got that impression. Like they seemed genuinely happy. He seemed like he treated her well. Like it was just so, yeah. So this is definitely more of a shock, but like I didn't expect that from Chris, but I believe Monique for sure. Okay. So I think that's it for Potomac. What else do we got? So we're going to end here we got a little bit of Summer House news and some Southern Charm news. So the news from Summer House is that Jesse Solomon accidentally, well, I don't know, maybe accidentally on purpose, but confirmed that Paige has a boyfriend. So Jesse was asked if he's tried to make a move. So this is from Reddit. So Reddit, Summer House Bravo Reddit. But Jesse was asked if he's tried to make a move on Paige now that her and Craig are broken up. And Jesse says something along the lines of, I think we all know this, Paige has a boyfriend. So not accidentally on purpose, on purpose, sorry. And he says, the poster says, I know we all know this because we have eyes, but Paige has never publicly confirmed it. So I thought it was interesting when Jesse said it outright. And this was during the BravoCon holiday special. Now, a lot of people might be like, well, what's the big deal? She's single. Who cares? Yeah. Like she's allowed to have a boyfriend. Of course. I think the thing is that it is the guy allegedly who she claims like it's the guy who like was kind of rumored that she was dating since like December or January or whatever, the guy that she was like seen in all these pictures with while she was saying she was single. And I think the other thing is that it's the guy whose ex said that there is some overlap and that she was texting him while they were in a relationship. I think that's the thing with it. Again, I thought and still think that that's why she's not announcing this relationship. I think she's been in this relationship for a while, but she doesn't want to say anything because I think she's scared of just that. Like, then people are going to be like, oh, so that girl was right. You were whatever. Or like, oh, you are dating this guy. Da, da, da. And, there's always like the whole like giggly squad thing. Like she always like tells her listeners apparently that like she doesn't hide things from them and da, da, da. But, it's like one of those parasocial relationships and yeah, and she's feeding into it by saying stuff like that. But like the truth is like you don't really care that much and like you're not really going to tell them, and if it's better for your image and career to hide it, you're going to hide it. But again, she's single and has a new boyfriend, and that's it. And again, I also think that she feels it's better for her brand if she appears as single. Like, I do think it is like a business strategy. Like, I think it's like, I'm the strong, independent woman who doesn't need a man. And I think dating the guy who she was pictured with like a couple weeks after Craig, it looks like boyfriend jumping and like maybe she can't be single for very long. Right. So I think she does think that would look bad for her image, but I think it's kind of worse for her image to like lie about it. Like, I think it's better to just own it. Like, you like this guy, this is your new guy. Stand by the guy, stand by your man, I guess. Okay. Now, Johnny Bananas was on doing like some interview or something, and he goes on and talks about how he's known Lindsay Hubbard for so long. And, kind of hints like, oh, he was around hanging out with her like after her and Carl broke up, which I believe he was, because I remember seeing pictures of them. But then he's trying to say that when she found out she was pregnant, he thought he could be the father. And you know what? There is one person who could solve this. Where is Maury? No, I'm just joking. But Lindsay is, of course, because it's Lindsay. Lindsay is clapping back in the most Lindsay way possible. She reposts an article and then she says, "Dear at Johnny Bananas, in case you never had the birds and the bees talk, you actually have to have sex to get pregnant. And last I checked, we never hooked up. Get your relevancy from someone else. And let me be clear, my baby is way too cute to be a bananas baby. Bye," with a bye waving emoji. Yeah, you tell him, Hub House. That's a great comeback. My baby's too cute to be a bananas baby. That's a good comeback. And I love how Lindsay never shies away. Like, she tags him in it. And then when she writes, "get your relevancy from someone else," it's like she switches the font color to like red. She just, there's no mincing words there. Again, that's why I can't wait to have her back on my TV. All right. Speaking of blondes on reality shows, let's talk about Southern Charm. So there are a lot of blondes on that show. So basically, there was this TikTok that somebody put up. And I guess the person in the TikTok was saying, or a lot of people in the comments, sorry, were saying things about Sally giving Taylor energy and comparing her to Taylor. And I guess Taylor didn't like that. So somebody commented, and basically the comment was, "It's giving Taylor energy." And then Taylor responded and said, "Totally, because I'm capable of manipulating a doctor into cheating on his wife. Oh, and fully dating someone the entire time they were filming this past season, while also trying to hook up with both Craig and Austin. Q, watch what happens live. I'm a girl's girl. I would never do that to Paige. Yeah, it's totally giving Taylor energy. Get the fuck out." Okay. So now people are like, oh, is that true? Like, that she manipulated a doctor into cheating on his wife? Well, first of all, I mean, Taylor, you're showing your own non-girls girl colors, as you always do, without even knowing, because you don't manipulate someone into cheating on their wife. Okay. Was Sally wrong to hook up with a married man who she knew was married? We're assuming she did. Yes, absolutely. She's wrong. And she deserves her lashings for that. But you don't manipulate a married man into cheating. Okay. He chose to cheat. That's on him. But again, Taylor doesn't see things that way because she's also not a girl's girl. And I'm not saying Sally is. From what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing on Southern Charm so far this season, it seems like maybe she's not. So, but again, we'll give it more time, I guess. But so Sally goes on to defend herself and says, "Wild," and she posts this on her Instagram story, "Wild how strangers can confidently state quote unquote facts about situations they've never been in and people they don't actually know. Let me just say the rumors circulating online about my personal life are completely false." I like how she doesn't say the specific rumor, though. She says the rumors going around online. That kind of makes me think she's guilty, because now she has like plausible deniability. So like, in case, the wife speaks out or someone speaks out with receipts, she could be like, well, I was talking about a different rumor or whatever. I don't know. But again, I'm really reading into this. The only doctor, oh, okay, so she does. Sorry. I should probably have read the whole thing beforehand. Sorry about that, guys. The only doctor I've ever been involved with was my ex-fiance, and he was well out of his marriage when I met him. Secondly, I did not have a boyfriend while filming this season. Thirdly, the person making these accusations needs to shut their mouth before I open mine. Okay. And then Taylor put another comment on this post saying, look, if people are going to continue to tag me in posts comparing me to that girl, yeah, I'm going to have something to say. I've taken a lot of heat being compared to people, but I draw the line with this one. I stepped away from the show for a reason, and considering everything I went through during and after I had already admitted to my mistakes, I'm extremely proud of how far I've come and blah, blah, blah. Okay. The rest of it is kind of boring. Just like Taylor, I don't even want to finish this. Like, this is so boring. It's not even good. Okay. The only thing she says is kind of at the end, please stop tagging me and comparing me to a narcissistic and desperate newcomer. I mean, who cares? Like, if you're out of the show and you're not like, I mean, I get she's getting tagged, but like, I mean, there's worse people to be compared to than Sally, isn't there? Like the guy you dated, being compared to him would be worse, I guess. I don't know. I guess it bugged her. Fine. You have the right to be bugged. I don't know why you have to go like in the comments and throw this accusation out about her and like this doctor and that her dating someone the whole time she was on the show. Like, it's not like Sally made the TikTok and was like comparing herself to you and like tagging you. It was just like fans doing like fan discussion and stuff on TikTok. And like you being so bothered by being compared to someone who's on the show that you were fired from. By the way, you did not step away from the show to like, shut up. You didn't do that. Yeah, that's looking a little bit like salty and like you're pissed off because, maybe Sally and Molly and new people took your place because you were boring. And again, Taylor never would have been on that show in the first place if she wasn't dating Shep. She just wouldn't. She's not like reality TV personality. You either have to be like dating one of these guys or you have to be like have like a really interesting, entertaining personality like Molly does. And Taylor, you are the most monotone, boring I'm sorry. She just is. I'm not even saying she's like, yeah, no, she's not the best. Okay. Anyways, I'm done. The last thing is a little update from one of the former blondes of Southern Charm, Olivia Flowers, who we all remember she had called off her wedding like very close before. And, I was questioning, as many others were, like, okay, so they must have broken up, something must have happened. But apparently, maybe not, because she posted this and says, well, November wasn't the month I pictured, but it was still a special one thanks to these beautiful people. A few key takeaways. Your support system is everything. You can take a beat for yourself. You can call off a wedding without calling off a relationship. Returning registry gifts builds character with like a melting face emoji. So I guess they're still together. Good for her for returning the registry gifts. There's a lot of people that would have kept that shit. I'm telling you. I just want to give her some props for that. I mean, calling off a wedding and still being with the person, that's not an easy thing to do. That is a tough thing to do. And like, there is a picture of like her and him together, like kind of underneath this. But hey, listen, I don't know the nuances of their situation and what they went through and why all this happened. But listen, I mean, good for her for doing what's best for her. It seems like, I guess it was the right decision. And again, like, who knows if the relationship will last? Maybe that's why she wants to just date more, because she's, not sure it's forever. And that's, you shouldn't get married if you don't feel, even no one knows for sure. I mean, I think some people do, and they just get married anyways, just because they want to be married or have a wedding. But I do think that, like, if you don't feel sure about it, then yeah, you shouldn't. So, she lost money, of course, planning a wedding and not going through with it, but not as much as she would have with a divorce. So yeah, especially if like, they had kids and it was long term, like all that kind of stuff, obviously. Okay. So I think that is all we have for today. And as usual, I want to thank you all for listening to the Bravo Papers. We're coming towards the end of the year. Spotify did their Spotify Wrapped thing, and I had some of you DM me or message me about my podcast being in your Spotify Wrapped. And if you did and I didn't see it because I have so many DMs on Bravo and Botox, send them to the Bravo Papers Instagram. I'm sorry, but it really means the world to me. It's like I have to pinch myself. I can't believe somebody would listen to that many hours of me talking, but it's so flattering and great. And it just made me feel all fuzzy inside. It's the great best Christmas present, early Christmas present I could get. So thank you as usual, all of you. And you are now in the know for everything Bravo. See you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening, everyone. Your support really means everything to me. And this show wouldn't be possible without you, the listeners. So please, if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. For more, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Bravo and Botox. And for $5 a month, you'll get 4 extra podcast episodes a month. You'll also get early releases of Bravo Paper episodes and more. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Bravo Papers and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Bravo and Botox and at The Bravo Papers. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can at buymeacoffee.com/Bravo and Botox. Send your love through some much needed caffeine. And any guest that was on today's episode will be in the show notes, all their social media and contact information. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep overanalyzing Bravo.